Oh, boys and girls, June 29th, International Fight Week at 185 pounds. Conor McGregor makes his return, finally, against me, Michael Chandler, yours truly. The fight that has been the number one fight, the fight the whole time. I know it's took a couple different turns, a couple different fake newses, and a couple different false claims, a couple different pie-in-the-sky matchups, but Conor, take us back a couple days ago. Conor says, as he always does, to try to be the center of attention because you guys hang on every word that he says, every tweet that he tweets, every god-awful music singing voice memo that he puts out there. You guys hang on them all. And they're funny. Got to be honest with you. Dude's funny. Dude's a troll. The troll of all trolls. A couple days ago, he comes out and says, I will be announcing my opponent and fight date on New Year's. And isn't that just like Conor to just try to be the center of attention on the new year? And then he makes good on that promise. A couple days later, 24 hours later, I don't know how long it was. I didn't even see it until after I got a couple different phone calls. That obviously he's sitting in a restaurant, swirling some wine, taking a little sip, announces his return of the greatest comeback in sports history. June 29th, International Fight Week in Las Vegas against Michael Chandler, and the weight is 185. Unless I'd laugh. I can confirm that, yes, that is exactly what I have heard as well. And then obviously him announcing it makes it a little bit more true. Obviously, you got to remember, the UFC has not announced this yet. But also, if I take you back to February of 2023, while the UFC, myself, the UFC, we were all in talks about The Ultimate Fighter, Conor came out and put a long tweet out about The Ultimate Fighter and how he was going to do The Ultimate Fighter. So Conor, in typical Conor fashion, Conor being Conor, wanted to break the news himself about The Ultimate Fighter, and then it was confirmed. Obviously, the UFC puts it out there. It looks like that's what this scenario has happened again. June 29th, International Fight Week, me versus Conor. Now, when it comes to 185, you got to remember, there's two reasons why it's at 185. Number one, Conor wants to continue the narrative that he's bigger than he actually is. You guys think he's bigger because of lights, camera angles, and a great photographer. Shout out to his photographer. He's always with him. Does a great job. That Conor is bigger than he actually is. That's the number one. Number two, you got to remember, UFC 274, I kicked Tony Ferguson's head clean off, and I got on the microphone, called out Conor and said, but I want to up the stakes. I want to fight you at your biggest, your baddest, and your best. I want to fight you at 170. So naturally, Conor can't say the fight's at 155 because he wants you guys to think that he's too big to make 155, which is not true. And he also can't say it's at 170 because that would mean that he's not in control, because I originally called the fight at welterweight at 170. So naturally, he says 185. Do I believe the fight's at 185? Heck, I'm game. The weight class does not matter. Because you guys got to remember, two guys that weigh the same-ish. Conor and I are within 3 to 5 pounds of each other. Spent 5 weeks with him in Las Vegas. Saw him almost every day. You guys saw us standing next to each other. The size of us, very similar. So it doesn't matter whether we're cutting 25 pounds down to 155 or 15 pounds down to 170, 20 pounds down to 170, or whatever the math is. We're the same weight. So does the weight really matter? Weight doesn't matter to me. This is the fight that I want. It's the fight that I agreed to. If you guys take you back a little bit on my career, I had 100-something wrestling matches in high school, 131 wrestling matches in college, and now 31 fights. I've never missed weight, and I've never pulled out of a fight or a wrestling match. So I'm not worried about where the weight is. I'm not worried about all the shenanigans outside of the training and the nutrition, the supplementation. I can move, I can gauge, I can figure out whatever weight I need to go to. 185 sounds great to me. Cutting very minimal weight, doing training camp without having to cut weight sounds great to me. 170 would be easy as well. So I'm excited that the plane is finally landing, and it's going to land in Las Vegas, June 29th, International Fight Week, which normally is the biggest fight card of the year. Obviously, this year's a little bit different because UFC 300 is a landmark card for the UFC. 300 shows, 300 pay-per-views, actually, which is a crazy feat. It's going to be a big card, obviously. So UFC 300 it was December back in the day. And then now we were talking about UFC 300. That was the speculation, bunch of fake news going out there. But I definitely did like the idea of UFC 300, but June 29th is great. Fine with me. A good amount of time to hit the ground running now here in January, even though I've continued to hit the ground running all of 2023, enjoying my time with my family and training and standing up businesses, investing in businesses and doing stuff outside of the octagon. So it's been nice. And now it's time to get dialed in and laser focused. But the laugh at the end of the video was funny. Got to admit, like I said, I'm not afraid to give the guy his flowers. The dude's funny. He is the troll of all trolls. And I listened to Uncle Chael, Chael Sonnen's video that he just put out yesterday, I believe, and he was talking about how big of a troll Conor is. And people can say, well, he loses legitimacy because he is a troll. But when you are the biggest troll of them all, you are not in danger of losing your status unless somebody else can troll more than you. So obviously he has settled into that role as a troll very well. He loves it. He loves putting out information, real or fake. He loves talking. He loves putting out anything because you guys will eat it up. So it's fitting that he kind of made it two truths and a lie, if you will. That was one of Chael's things. I won't take credit for that. He's like, it's that old game called two truths and a lie, where you're trying to say something that you're trying to make someone else believe is or isn't true, right? So two truths. June 29th, International Fight Week, truth. Michael Chandler, truth. Lie, 185. Maybe. We don't know. But either way, the laugh makes it more of a troll situation. But so I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. Obviously the timing of it was interesting. January 1, we get rid of USADA. Now we're into our new drug testing, drug-free sport international, which is already out there, public information. So I'm excited to start that new program. So Conor got into the USADA testing pool in October. So it, all the naysayers who were talking about all that stuff. I mean, obviously, you can go to the USADA website and you could see how many times he was tested. He's been tested numerous times. You can go see all the times I've been tested. Now we start a new chapter. June 29th, International Fight Week in Las Vegas. Not sure of the venue yet. Obviously, there's a ton of venues that could happen in June in Las Vegas. The possibility of the Sphere, the possibility of Allegiant Stadium. Obviously, always the go-to of T-Mobile. Who knows? Doesn't matter. It's going to be a big card. It's going to be fun. And I finished Conor within the first 2 rounds. And after that, probably pretty much end his career. And that's what there's just so much more than people think about on the surface level. I want battlegrounds of epic proportions. I want to stand in the cage with that man. I want to break that man's will. I want to break his jaw. I want to separate him from consciousness, completely flatline him inside the octagon, and then we say farewell to one of the sport's biggest star, and then we can go about our merry way. So June 29th, International Fight Week, Chandler versus McGregor at 185. I'm in. Let's do this thing. God bless. I'll see you at the top.